Maya walked down the old dirt path behind her grandmother's house. The trees grew thick on both sides, and their branches made dark shadows on the ground. She had been staying with her grandmother for 2 weeks now, and she was getting bored. There was no internet in the small house, no cable TV, and definitely no friends her age in the tiny village. Her grandmother had sent her out to pick berries for dinner. Maya carried a small basket and moved slowly through the forest. She did not really want to be there, but she had no choice. Her parents were working in another country for 3 months, and her grandmother was the only family member who could take care of her. The old woman was kind, but she did not understand Maya's world. She did not know about social media, video games, or any of the things that made Maya happy. Instead, she wanted to teach Maya how to cook old recipes, how to grow vegetables, and how to make things with her hands. Maya stopped walking when she heard a strange sound. It was like music, but not quite. The sound seemed to come from somewhere deeper in the forest. She had never heard anything like it before. It was beautiful and sad at the same time. She looked around. The path continued straight ahead, but the sound was coming from the left. Her grandmother had told her to stay on the path and not go into the deep forest. But the music was so interesting that Maya could not ignore it. She stepped off the path and walked toward the sound. The trees became thicker and the light became dimmer. Maya pushed through low branches and stepped over fallen logs. The music became clearer as she got closer. It sounded like someone was playing a flute, but the melody was unlike anything she had ever heard. After walking for about 10 minutes, Maya came to a small clearing. In the middle of the open space stood a very old tree. It was much bigger than all the other trees around it. Its trunk was so wide that Maya thought it would take at least 6 people holding hands to wrap around it. The music was coming from the tree. Maya stepped closer and saw something that made her gasp. There was a door in the trunk of the tree. It was a real door with hinges and a handle, just like the door of a house. The door was slightly open and golden light was coming out from inside. The beautiful music was flowing out with the light. Maya stood there for a long time, not knowing what to do. She had read many fairy tales when she was younger, and this seemed like something from one of those stories. But this was real life. Trees did not have doors. Trees did not have light inside them. And trees definitely did not play music. She thought about going back to her grandmother and telling her what she had found. But her grandmother might not believe her. Or worse, she might tell Maya to stay away from the tree. Maya was curious about what was inside. Slowly, she walked up to the door and pushed it open a little more. The music became louder and the golden light became brighter. She could see that there were stairs inside the tree, going down into the earth. The stairs looked like they were made of the same wood as the tree, but they glowed with a soft light. Maya took a deep breath and stepped inside. The moment her foot touched the first stair, the music stopped. Everything became very quiet. Maya waited, but the music did not start again. She was about to turn around and leave when she heard a voice. "Welcome, young one," the voice said. It was gentle and warm, like her grandmother's voice, but it seemed to come from everywhere at once. Maya looked around but saw no one. "Who is there?" she asked, her voice shaking a little. "I am the guardian of this place," the voice answered. "I have been waiting for someone like you." "Someone like me?" Maya asked. "What do you mean?" "Someone who is not afraid to leave the path. Someone who follows beautiful sounds even when they do not know where those sounds will lead. Someone who is brave enough to open doors that should not exist." Maya felt both scared and excited. "What is this place?" she asked. "This is the entrance to the underground city," the voice explained. "It is a place where magic still lives, where the old ways are remembered, and where people who have been forgotten by the world above continue their lives." "Magic?" Maya whispered. She had stopped believing in magic when she turned 12. Her friends had laughed at her for still reading fairy tales, so she had put away all her fantasy books and tried to be more grown-up. Yes, child, magic. But magic is not what most people think it is. It is not about waving wands or saying special words. Real magic is about understanding the connections between all things. It is about seeing the beauty that others miss. It is about being brave enough to help when help is needed. Maya thought about this. She had always felt different from other kids her age. While they were interested in shopping and gossip and social media, she was more interested in nature and stories and in understanding how things worked. Maybe that was why she was the one who heard the music. Why are you telling me this? Maya asked. Because the underground city is in danger, the voice said, and now it sounded sad. There is a darkness growing there, something that threatens to destroy everything we have built. We need someone from the world above to help us. Someone young and brave and pure of heart. Maya felt her stomach twist with nervousness. But I am just a kid. I do not know how to fight darkness or save cities. I do not even know how to make friends at my new school. The best heroes often start as ordinary people who do not think they are special, the voice said kindly. But you are more special than you know, Maya. Maya was surprised to hear her name. How do you know who I am? We have been watching you since you arrived at your grandmother's house. We know about your kind heart, your love of stories, and your desire to help others. We know that you feel lost and alone. But here, you could find your true purpose. Maya looked down the glowing stairs. They curved away into the darkness, and she could not see where they led. This was the biggest decision she had ever had to make. She could turn around, go back to her grandmother's house, and pretend this had never happened. Or she could walk down those stairs and enter a world of magic and adventure. She thought about her boring summer, her loneliness, and her feeling that she did not fit in anywhere. Then she thought about the beautiful music and the warm voice and the chance to help people who needed her. Maya took a step down the stairs. The stairs felt warm under Maya's feet. As she walked down, the golden light grew brighter, and she could see more clearly. The walls around the staircase were smooth and curved, like the inside of a seashell. Strange symbols were carved into the wood, and they glowed with the same soft light as the stairs. Maya counted her steps. 20, 30, 50. She must be very deep underground now, but she did not feel scared. The warm light made her feel safe and calm. After walking down 112 steps, Maya reached the bottom. She found herself standing in a huge underground chamber. The ceiling was so high that she could not see it in the dim light above. But what amazed her most was what filled the space in front of her. It was a city. A real city with buildings and streets and squares, all built inside this enormous cave. The buildings were unlike anything Maya had ever seen. They seemed to be grown rather than built, with walls that curved and flowed like water that had been frozen in time. Some buildings twisted up toward the ceiling like enormous trees. Others spread out wide and low like mushrooms. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. There were no electric lamps or fire torches, but every surface glowed gently. The streets were paved with stones that sparkled like stars. Gardens filled with unusual plants grew between the buildings. Maya saw flowers that glowed blue and purple, and trees with silver leaves that tinkled, like tiny bells when the air moved through them. But the most wonderful thing about the city was the people. They walked through the streets and sat in the gardens and worked in small shops. But they were not ordinary people. Some were very tall and thin with pointed ears and hair that moved like water. Others were short and round with skin that looked like tree bark and eyes that glowed like fireflies. Maya saw people with wings like butterflies, and others who seemed to be made of mist and starlight. As Maya stood there staring, a young man approached her. He looked almost human, but his skin was pale green, and his hair was the color of autumn leaves. When he smiled, his teeth were white as snow. "You must be Maya," he said, and his voice sounded like wind chimes. "We have been waiting for you. My name is Finn, and I will be your guide while you are here." "This is all real," Maya whispered, still not quite believing what she saw. "Very real," Finn said with a gentle laugh. "Would you like me to show you around our city? There is much to see and much to explain." Maya nodded, unable to speak. Finn began walking, and she followed him into the streets of the underground city. As they walked, Finn told her about the people they met. The tall, thin people with pointed ears were called the Moonfolk. They had lived underground for thousands of years after humans stopped believing in them. The short, round people with bark-like skin were the Earthkin. They took care of all the plants and made sure the city stayed healthy and green. "What about the people with wings?" Maya asked as they watched a woman with butterfly wings tend to a garden of glowing flowers. "Those are the Skyborn," Finn explained. "They used to live in the clouds, but they came down here when the air above became too polluted for them to breathe safely." Maya felt sad to hear this. "So all of you came here because humans made the world above too dangerous?" "Not dangerous exactly," Finn said thoughtfully. "More like forgettable. When people stopped believing in magic, we became invisible to them. And when we became invisible, we started to fade away. The underground city was built as a place where we could live safely and keep our magic strong." They walked through a marketplace where vendors sold things Maya had never imagined. There were bottles full of liquid moonlight, scarves woven from spider silk that changed colors as they moved, and small cakes that made beautiful music when you bit into them. "Your city is wonderful," Maya said. "But the voice that brought me here said you were in danger." "What kind of danger?" Finn's smile faded, and his orange hair seemed to lose some of its bright color. "Come," he said. "I will show you." He led her through more streets until they came to the edge of the city. Here, the building stopped, and the cave continued into darkness. But this was not the gentle, comfortable darkness that surrounded the rest of the city. This darkness felt cold and angry. It moved and shifted like it was alive. 3 months ago, this darkness appeared, Finn explained. Every day, it grows a little bigger. It has already swallowed 2 of our districts. The people who lived there had to move closer to the center of the city. Maya stared at the moving darkness. It made her feel sick to look at it. "What is it?" "We think it is fear," Finn said quietly. "Fear and sadness and anger from the world above. These feelings are so strong that they have taken on a life of their own. They flow down through cracks in the earth and gather here." "Fear from the world above?" Maya asked. Finn nodded. "Your world has become very full of fear lately. People are afraid of each other, afraid of the future, afraid of losing the things they love. All of that fear has to go somewhere. It seeps down into our world and turns into this." Maya thought about the news she had seen before coming to her grandmother's house. There had been stories about wars and climate change and people being mean to each other online. Her own parents had been stressed and worried about work and money. Even at school, everyone seemed angry or scared about something. "How can I help?" Maya asked. "I am just one person. Magic is not about being powerful," Finn said. "It is about understanding connections. The darkness feeds on fear and loneliness and anger. But it cannot grow in the presence of hope and love and connection. So I need to fight it with love?" Maya asked. It sounded too simple. "Not fight," Finn corrected. "Transform. You cannot destroy darkness by attacking it. You can only transform it by bringing light." As if responding to their conversation, the darkness surged forward. It moved like a wave, reaching toward them with cold fingers. Maya felt fear start to grow in her chest, but then she remembered the warm feeling she had experienced on the stairs. Without thinking, Maya stepped forward and held out her hand toward the darkness. She thought about her grandmother's kind smile, about the beautiful music that had led her here, about all the wonderful people she had just met in the city. Where her hand pointed, a small light appeared. The darkness touched the light and hissed like water hitting hot metal. Then, in the place where they met, the darkness began to change. Instead of cold and angry black, it became deep blue, like the ocean at night. The blue was still dark, but it was peaceful and calm. Finn gasped. "Maya, you did it! You actually changed some of the darkness." Maya looked at her hand in wonder. "But I do not understand. What did I do?" "You chose to feel love instead of fear," Finn said. "That is the most powerful magic there is." The small patch of blue darkness sparkled with tiny lights, like stars reflected in water. It was beautiful instead of scary. "But there is still so much left," Maya said, looking at the wall of angry darkness that surrounded the small, peaceful area. "That is why we need your help," Finn said. "You have the power to transform the darkness, but you will need to learn how to use it properly. And you will need to understand where the darkness really comes from." Maya felt overwhelmed. "I do not know if I can do this." "You do not have to do it alone," Finn assured her. "All of us will help you. And there is someone very special who wants to meet you. Someone who has been waiting a long time for a human like you to come to our city." "Who?" Maya asked. "The Elder," Finn said. "She is the oldest and wisest person in our city. She is the one who built the doorway in the tree and sent out the music to call you here." Maya looked once more at the wall of darkness and at the small area of peaceful blue she had created. It was just a tiny change, but it was a beginning. Maybe she really could help these people. Maybe this was where she belonged. "Take me to meet the Elder," Maya said. Finn led Maya through the winding streets toward the center of the underground city. As they walked, more and more people came out of their homes and shops to look at her. Maya felt nervous with so many eyes watching her, but everyone smiled kindly and some even waved. "They are curious about you," Finn explained. "We have not had a visitor from the world above in over 200 years. 200 years? Maya was amazed. "How long have you all been living down here?" "The city was started about 500 years ago," Finn said. "But people have been coming here bit by bit ever since. Whenever the magic gets too weak in the world above, magical beings find their way down here." They walked past a fountain where water danced in the air without any pumps or machinery. Children played nearby, some flying with small wings, others making flowers bloom just by touching them. Maya watched a little girl with silver hair turn pebbles into butterflies with her bare hands. "Do all of you have magic?" Maya asked. "In different ways," Finn replied. "Magic comes from understanding the connections between things. Some of us understand the connection between earth and growing things, so we can make plants grow. Others understand the connection between heart and heart, so they can heal sadness and pain. What kind of magic do you have?" Finn smiled and touched one of the silver trees they were passing. The leaves began to sing a soft, sweet melody. "I understand the connection between feelings and sounds. I can turn emotions into music." Maya thought about this. "What about me? What kind of magic do I have?" "That is what the Elder will help you discover," Finn said. They reached the very center of the city, where the tallest and most beautiful building stood. It was grown from what looked like a single enormous crystal. The crystal was clear as glass, but it held all the colors of the rainbow inside it. Light flowed through it like water, creating patterns that moved and shifted constantly. "This is the heart of the city," Finn said. "The Elder lives at the top." They entered through a doorway that was just an opening in the crystal. Inside, Maya saw that there were no stairs or elevators. Instead, platforms of light floated in the air at different levels. "How do we get up there?" Maya asked. "Just step onto the light," Finn said. "The building knows where you want to go." Maya was scared, but she stepped onto what looked like a glowing piece of air. To her surprise, it felt solid under her feet. The moment she stood on it, the platform began to rise smoothly upward. They floated past many levels. Maya saw libraries with books that read themselves out loud, workshops where people crafted tools from solidified starlight, and gardens where fruits grew that could cure any illness. Finally, they reached the top level. Here, the crystal walls were transparent, and Maya could see the entire underground city spread out below them. It was even more beautiful from above, with its flowing buildings and glowing gardens creating patterns. Like a living mandala dot in the center of the circular room sat an old woman. She looked human, but Maya could tell she was very, very old. Her hair was white as snow and so long that it pooled around her like water. Her eyes were the deep blue of the ocean, and when she looked at Maya, it felt like she could see everything that Maya had ever thought or felt. "Welcome, child," the elder said, and her voice was the same warm voice that had spoken to Maya in the tree. "I am so glad you chose to come down to us." Maya felt shy suddenly. "Hello, I am Maya." "I know who you are," the elder smiled. "I have been watching you for some time. Please, sit with me." Maya sat on a cushion made of woven light. It was surprisingly comfortable. "Finn tells me you were able to transform some of the darkness," the elder said. "That is remarkable for someone with no training." "I do not really understand what I did," Maya admitted. "It just happened when I stopped being afraid." "That is exactly right," the elder nodded. "Fear feeds the darkness. But love, hope, and connection transform it into something beautiful. You have a very special gift, Maya." "What kind of gift?" The elder stood and walked to one of the crystal walls. She placed her hand on it, and suddenly the wall showed images like a movie screen. Maya saw the world above, cities and forests, oceans and mountains. But she also saw streams of dark energy flowing from the cities down into the earth. "This is what the world above looks like to magical eyes," the elder explained. "All the fear and anger and loneliness that people feel creates this dark energy. For many years, we were able to absorb small amounts of it and transform it harmlessly. But recently, there's been too much for us to handle." The image changed to show the underground city. Maya could see the wall of darkness that surrounded it, growing bigger every day. "If the darkness continues to grow, it will eventually swallow our entire city," the elder said sadly. "Everyone here will fade away and be lost forever." Maya felt a heavy weight settle on her shoulders. "And you think I can stop it?" "I think you can do something even better," the elder said. "I think you can help the people in the world above create less darkness to begin with." "How?" The elder waved her hand, and the crystal wall showed Maya's own neighborhood, her school, her friends. "You have something that we magical beings lost long ago. You belong to both worlds. You can live in the world above and still believe in magic. You can be a bridge between the two worlds." Maya watched the images of her normal life. It all seemed so far away now. "But I am just a kid. How can I change anything?" "Magic works through small actions," the elder said. "Every time someone chooses kindness over meanness, hope over fear, connection over loneliness, they create light instead of darkness. One person can start a change that spreads to many people." The elder returned to her seat. "But first, you need to learn to control your gift. The darkness is not evil, Maya. It is just pain that has grown too large and lost its way. If you can learn to transform it properly, you can turn it back into the emotions it came from. Sadness that needs comfort, anger that needs justice, fear that needs reassurance, Will you teach me? Maya asked. I will teach you what I can, the elder said. But the best teacher will be experience. You will need to go back into the city and work with the darkness directly. Maya felt scared again. What if I make a mistake? What if I make it worse? Fear of making mistakes is just another kind of fear, the elder said gently. And fear feeds the darkness. The only way to fail is to let fear stop you from trying. The elder stood and walked to a cabinet made of crystallized music. She opened it and took out a small pendant on a chain. The pendant looked like a tiny star, and it glowed with warm white light. This will help you, she said, placing the chain around Maya's neck. It is made from crystallized hope. Whenever you feel afraid or overwhelmed, hold it and remember that hope is always stronger than fear. Maya touched the pendant. It felt warm against her skin, and immediately she felt braver and calmer. There is one more thing you must know, the elder said, her expression becoming serious. The darkness you saw at the edge of the city is not the real problem. It is just a symptom. The real source of the darkness is much deeper underground, in the old caves beneath our city. What is down there? Maya asked. The first darkness, the elder replied. The original fear that started it all. It has been growing for hundreds of years, fed by every bit of pain and fear from the world above. If we could transform that, all the smaller darkness would disappear too. Maya felt overwhelmed again. That sounds impossible. Many impossible things have happened throughout history, the elder said with a smile. They happened because someone was brave enough to try. Will you try, Maya? Maya thought about everything she had seen and learned. She thought about the beautiful city full of kind, magical people. She thought about her lonely summer and her feeling that she did not fit anywhere. She thought about the warm light that came from her hands when she chose love over fear. Yes, Maya said. I will try. The elder's smile became radiant, and for a moment, the entire crystal building glowed brighter. Then tomorrow, your real training begins, she said. Maya woke up in the softest bed she had ever slept in. The mattress seemed to be made of woven moonbeams, and the pillow felt like a cloud. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she remembered everything. The tree, the underground city, the elder, and her promise to help fight the darkness. Sunlight was streaming through the window of her guest room, but Maya knew it was not real sunlight. Finn had explained that the city created its own light to match the rhythm of day, and night in the world above. Someone knocked softly on her door. Maya, are you awake? It was Finn's voice. Come in. Maya called. Finn entered carrying a tray of breakfast. The food looked normal, bread and fruit and something that looked like tea. But when Maya tasted it, the bread was sweeter than honey. The fruit tasted like sunshine felt, and the tea warmed her from the inside out. The elder wants to begin your training this morning, Finn said as Maya ate. Are you ready? Maya touched the pendant around her neck. It pulsed with gentle warmth. I think so. After breakfast, Finn led her to a part of the city she had not seen before. Here, the buildings were simpler and more practical. Maya saw people practicing different kinds of magic. Some were making small rainstorms in jars. Others were teaching stones to sing. This is our school district, Finn explained. Everyone here learns to control and strengthen their magical abilities. They stopped in front of a building that looked like it was made from frozen water. Through the clear walls, Maya could see the elder waiting inside with several other people. Your teachers, Finn said. Each of them has a different kind of magic, and each will teach you something different about controlling your gift. Maya entered the building. The elder smiled and introduced her to the other teachers. There was Sage, a moonfolk woman who could see emotions as colors around people. There was Brooke, an earthkin man who could feel the health of any living thing just by touching it. And there was Melody, a skyborn woman whose wings changed color with her mood. "Today, we will help you understand how your magic works," the elder said. "Sage, will you start?" Sage nodded and looked carefully at Maya. "I can see the magic in you," she said. "It glows around you like a golden light. But I can also see something else. What do you see?" Maya asked. "Pain," Sage said gently. "Old pain that you carry inside you. Loneliness, fear of not being good enough, sadness about feeling different from other children." Maya felt embarrassed. She did not like people seeing her private feelings. "This is important," the elder explained. "Your magic comes from your ability to understand pain and transform it. But to help others, you must first understand and heal your own pain." Brooke stepped forward. "May I?" he asked, holding out his hand. Maya let him take her hand in his. His skin felt warm and rough, like tree bark. Brooke closed his eyes and was quiet for a long moment. "You have been hurt by people who did not understand you," he said finally. "You have been laughed at for believing in things that others called silly. You have been lonely even when surrounded by people." Maya felt tears starting in her eyes. It was true. At school, she was often the odd one out. Other kids thought she was weird for liking fantasy books and nature more than social media and shopping. "But look," Brooke said, and suddenly Maya could feel what he felt. Through his touch, she could sense the life energy in everything around them. The people, the magical plants, even the building itself. Everything was connected by threads of light and energy. You were never really alone. You just could not see the connections that were always there. Maya gasped. She could feel the warm, loving energy flowing between all the people in the room. She could sense the kindness in Finn's heart, the wisdom in the elder's mind, the gentle strength in Brooke's spirit. "This is what you can do," Melody said, her wings shifting to a warm golden color. "You can help people see and feel the connections that fear makes them forget. Fear makes us think we are alone, but love shows us the truth, that we are all part of one big web of life." The elder stepped forward. "Now you understand the theory. But to use your magic effectively, you need practice. Are you ready to try working with real darkness?" Maya felt nervous, but she nodded. Yes. They left the school building and walked to the edge of the city where the wall of darkness waited. Today, it seemed larger than yesterday. Maya could feel the cold, angry energy, even from a distance. "Remember," the elder said, "darkness is not your enemy. It is pain that needs healing. Approach it with love, not fear." Maya walked closer to the wall of darkness. This time, she tried to feel what Brooke had shown her, the connections between all things. She could sense the pain inside the darkness. It was made up of thousands and thousands of individual hurts, people feeling left out, scared, angry, or sad. She held her pendant and thought about her own weakness. She remembered how it felt to be laughed at, to feel like she did not belong anywhere. Then she thought about how different she felt now, surrounded by people who understood and accepted her. Maya reached out toward the darkness, not with her hand this time, but with her heart. She sent feelings of comfort and understanding into the angry mass. "You are not alone," she whispered to the darkness. "I know how it feels to hurt, but you do not have to stay in pain." Where her love touched the darkness, it began to change. Instead of angry black, it became deep purple, the color of sadness. Then, as Maya continued to send love and understanding, the purple began to lighten. It became lavender, then pale blue, then silver dot in the silver light. Maya could see images. People crying, people afraid, people feeling lost and disconnected. But now the images were surrounded by gentle light instead of angry darkness. "Wonderful!" the elder exclaimed. "You have turned raw pain back into proper emotions. Now those feelings can be felt and healed properly, instead of growing into destructive darkness. Maya had transformed a section of the wall about the size of a door. It was much bigger than what she had done yesterday, but there was still so much left. "It is exhausting," Maya panted. She felt like she had run for miles. "Using magic takes energy," Melody explained. "But like any skill, it gets easier with practice. Also, you will learn to work smarter, not just harder." "What do you mean?" Maya asked. "Right now, you are trying to transform the darkness one piece at a time," the elder said. "But there is another way. Instead of changing the darkness after it forms, you can work at the source to prevent it from forming in the first place. The source is in the world above," Sage added. "If you could help the people there feel more connected and less afraid, less darkness would flow down to us." Maya thought about this. "But how can I help people in my own world? They do not believe in magic." "They do not need to believe in magic to benefit from it," the elder smiled. "Every act of kindness is magic. Every time someone chooses to help instead of ignore, to include instead of exclude, to understand instead of judge, that is real magic happening." "You mean I can do magic in the regular world?" Maya asked. "You have been doing magic your whole life," Brooke said. "Every time you were kind to someone who was lonely. Every time you stood up for someone who was being picked on. Every time you chose to see beauty instead of ugliness. That was you using your gift." Maya thought about the time she had helped classmates who were struggling. The time she had sat with kids who were eating lunch alone. The time she had tried to stop bullying even when it made her unpopular. "I never thought of those things as magic," she said. "The most powerful magic often does not look magical at all," the elder said. "It looks like ordinary kindness, ordinary love, ordinary courage. But its effects can change everything." Finn touched Maya's shoulder. "You should rest now. Tomorrow, we will show you the deeper caves where the first darkness lives. That will be your real test." As they walked back toward the city center, Maya felt both excited and scared. She was learning so much about herself and her abilities. But she also felt the weight of responsibility. So many people, both in the underground city and in the world above, were counting on her. "Finn?" she asked as they reached her guest house. "Yes?" "What if I am not strong enough? What if I fail?" Finn smiled, and his autumn-colored hair shimmered in the magical light. "Do you know what I think? I think you are exactly as strong as you need to be. And even if you feel scared, you keep trying anyway. That is what real courage looks like." That night, as Maya lay in her bed of woven moonbeams, she held her pendant and thought about everything she had learned. She was not just Maya anymore. She was a bridge between worlds, a healer of darkness, a maker of connections. Tomorrow, she would face the deepest darkness of all. But tonight, she felt ready. Maya stood at the entrance to the deep caves with the elder, Finn, and her teachers beside her. The opening in the ground looked like a mouth ready to swallow her whole. Cold air flowed up from the darkness below, carrying with it feelings of despair and hopelessness so strong that Maya had to hold her pendant tightly to keep from running away. "The first darkness has been growing down there for over 500 years, the elder explained. "It started with the first great war in your world, when so much fear and hate was created that it overwhelmed the Earth's ability to absorb it naturally." "How deep does it go?" Maya asked, trying to see into the blackness. "No one knows," Sage replied. "We have never been able to go very far down. The darkness is too thick, too old, too angry." Maya felt the weight of everyone's hopes pressing down on her. The entire population of the underground city had gathered to see her off. Children with glowing eyes watched from behind their parents. The Skyborn hovered in the air with their wings folded nervously. The Earthkin stood with their feet planted firmly, ready to catch her if she fell. "Remember," Brooke said, placing his warm hand on her shoulder. "You are not going down there to fight. You are going down there to understand and to heal." "And remember," Melody added, her wings shimmering with protective golden light, "you are never alone. We will all be here, sending our love and support down to you." Maya took a deep breath and stepped toward the entrance. Then she stopped. What if the darkness is too strong? What if it changes me instead of me changing it? The elder smiled sadly. "That is always a risk when we choose to face darkness, dear one. But here is what I know about you. Your light comes not from being pure or perfect, but from being willing to understand pain and transform it with love. Darkness cannot overcome that kind of light." Maya nodded and stepped into the cave. The moment her feet touched the rocky path leading down, the world above disappeared. She was surrounded by absolute darkness that seemed to press against her from all sides. But her pendant glowed steadily, creating a small circle of light around her dot as she walked deeper. Maya began to hear voices in the darkness. They were whispers at first, but they grew louder as she descended. "You are not good enough," the voices said. "You will fail. Everyone will laugh at you. You are all alone. No one understands you. Give up. It is easier to give up." Maya recognized these voices. They were all the mean things she had ever thought about herself, all the fears she had carried in her heart. The darkness was using her own doubts against her. But Maya had learned something important during her training. She stopped walking and sat down on the rocky path. "I hear you," she said to the voices. "I know those feelings. I have felt not good enough many times. I have been afraid of failing. I have felt alone and misunderstood." The voices grew quieter, surprised by her response. "But I also know something else now," Maya continued. "Those feelings are not the whole truth. They are just part of being human. Everyone feels that way sometimes. And when we share those feelings instead of hiding them, they stop having power over us." Maya stood up and continued walking. The voices tried to speak again, but now they sounded more like questions than attacks. "What if you really do fail?" they whispered. "Then I will learn something and try again," Maya answered calmly. "What if people really do think you are weird?" "Then I will find the people who appreciate me for who I am," Maya replied. With each honest answer she gave, her pendant glowed brighter. The circle of light around her grew larger, pushing back the darkness dot. After what felt like hours of walking, Maya reached the bottom of the cave. Here, she found the source of all the darkness. It was not a monster or an evil creature. It was a child. The child sat curled up in the center of a vast cavern, crying. He looked about 10 years old, but Maya could sense that he was incredibly ancient. His tears had created rivers of darkness that flowed out through cracks in the cave walls. Maya approached him slowly. As she got closer, she could see that he was not quite solid. He was made of shadow and starlight, pain and memory. "Hello," Maya said gently. The child looked up at her with eyes that held the sadness of centuries. "Who are you?" he asked in a voice like distant thunder. "My name is Maya. I came here to help." "No one can help me," the child said. "I have been crying for so long that I forgot why I started." Maya sat down beside him. Up close, she could see that he was beautiful in a terrible way, like a storm or a forest fire. Dangerous, but also natural and necessary. "Can you tell me about the sadness?" Maya asked. The child's form flickered like candlelight. "I was the first person to die in a war," he said. "I was scared and alone, and I did not understand why people were hurting each other. My fear and sadness were so strong that they did not die with my body. They stayed here, growing bigger every time someone else felt the same way." Maya felt her heart break for this ancient, lonely child. "That must have been so frightening." "It was," the child whispered. And then more and more people felt that same fear and sadness and anger. and it all came here to me. I've been carrying everyone's pain for hundreds of years. Maya understood now. This child was not evil or malicious. He was overwhelmed. He had been trying to hold and process all the world's pain by himself, and it had become too much for him to carry. You do not have to carry it all alone anymore, Maya said softly. But who else can do it? The child asked. Who else understands what it feels like to be so afraid and sad and lost? Maya held out her hand. I do. And so do millions of other people who have felt the same way. We can all help carry it together. The child stared at her hand for a long moment. But I am made of darkness now. If you touch me, the darkness might flow into you. I know, Maya said. But I also know that darkness shared becomes lighter. And I will not let it turn into the kind of darkness that hurts others. I will help it become what it really is. Sadness that needs comfort. Fear that needs understanding. Anger that needs justice. Slowly, carefully, the child reached out and took Maya's hand. The moment their fingers touched, Maya felt all of it. 500 years of accumulated fear and pain and loneliness. It rushed through her like a flood, threatening to drown her completely. But Maya held on to her pendant with her free hand and remembered everything she had learned. This was not her enemy. This was pain that needed healing. She thought about the elders' wisdom, Finn's friendship, Sage's insight into emotions, Brooke's understanding of connections, and Melody's knowledge about transformation. Most importantly, she thought about love. Maya opened her heart and let her love flow into the child. Not the kind of love that tries to fix everything quickly, but the kind of love that simply sits with pain and says, I see you. I understand. You are not alone. As her love flowed into the ancient child, something miraculous happened. The darkness did not disappear. Instead, it began to separate into its original components. The fear became visible as fear, something that could be faced and overcome. The sadness became sadness, something that could be felt and comforted. The anger became anger, something that could be understood and channeled into positive change. The child began to glow with soft light. His form became more solid, more real, but also somehow lighter. I remember now, he said with wonder in his voice. I remember why I was sad. I was sad because I wanted people to stop hurting each other. I was angry because I wanted justice and fairness. I was afraid because I wanted everyone to be safe. Those are good things to want, Maya said. Your feelings were never wrong. They just got so big and overwhelming that they forgot their original purpose. The child stood up, and as he did, the cavern began to fill with light. The walls started to sparkle like crystals, and Maya could hear the sound of flowing water where before there had been only the drip of darkness. What happens now? The child asked. Now you get to choose, Maya said. You can stay here and continue to help process the world's pain, but you will not have to do it alone anymore. There are people all over the world who are ready to help carry the load. Or you can finally rest and let your spirit return to the place where all spirits go when they are ready for peace. The child thought for a long moment. I think I would like to help for a while longer, he decided. But not the way I was doing it before. I want to help people understand their feelings before those feelings turn into destructive darkness. Maya smiled. I think that is perfect. Together, they walked back up through the cave system. As they climbed, the walls began to change. Instead of cold rock, they became warm crystal that glowed with gentle light. Springs of clear water bubbled up from the floor. Flowers began to grow in the cracks. When they emerged into the underground city, everyone cheered. The wall of darkness at the city's edge was gone completely. In its place was a garden where people could come to understand and process their difficult emotions in a healthy way. But Maya knew her real work was just beginning. A week later, Maya climbed back up the glowing stairs in the tree and emerged into her grandmother's garden. Her grandmother was picking tomatoes and humming an old song. "There you are, dear," her grandmother said, as if Maya had only been gone for a few minutes. "I was beginning to think you got lost picking berries." Maya looked at her empty basket and laughed. "I suppose I did get a little lost." But Maya was not lost anymore.